What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk a little bit about Push. Not the Chris Evans movie, but actually the 2025 Shudder title, which on IMDb is credited as 2024. Guessing that's a festival debut, but it made its debut on Shudder. So click like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Join me in my cult following here on YouTube. We're on our way to 100K here on this channel. So other critics say they go into things blind. I actually go into things blind. I can't help it. It's just all the time, every day. So I think AMC Plus and Shudder are not very cognizant of the blind and low vision community, especially when it comes to their titles that don't go theatrical. But Push did not have a theatrical push, so it is without audio description. I usually like to watch films with audio description since I'm blind and it gives me context to literally everything that's happening in the movie. But they believe that I can watch this without it. So let's go. Let's check this out. Let's boldly go. This is This is what I do, so you don't have to wonder, blind and low vision people out there who subscribe and are like, oh, Push, what's this? I've done it for you. So Push is a thriller. I don't know if it's a horror movie. Maybe it's a horror movie. I'm going to go with thriller, about a young woman who's a realtor and she's trying to sell this house. She has a showing and nobody's really coming by. She also happens to be very pregnant, like very pregnant. And also she's trying to sell a murder house, which I thought was just sort of like an unnecessary, like, roping in of things. And it made me look up, the one thing I will give Push bonus points is now I'm trying to figure out how to grade these things for the tomato meter, is it did make me look up the whole thing about murder houses and what you have to disclose, because it's not until the one person who shows up for the viewing asks and says, like, oh, what happened to the previous owners, that she actually says, oh, I think they were murdered. I was like, wait a minute, I thought you had to disclose violent deaths in homes. No. You know what? That's like a state-by-state thing. So you could be living in a murder house right now, depending on your state regulations. There's no like national law that requires it. It's just depending on states. And shockingly, not as many states as you would think would have to disclose, so there could have been blood everywhere. They could have been eating people in your home. And that realtor would have just been like, I don't have to say anything. No laws telling me that. So, check your state regulations and find out if that happened. Yeah. So, this is, that was an interesting, that was what I learned from the movie. It gave me that knowledge. But the rest of it is, she finishes up, she wraps up for the day, goes outside, car doesn't start. Of course it doesn't. We need to advance the thriller plot of this movie. And I guess she's stalked for the remainder of the movie, while also she starts going into labor. So she has to figure out how to survive in this house that she's trying to sell, that also happens to be a murder house, from some crazed psychopath. And the film is almost completely void of dialogue. I mean, there are huge chunks of this that are nothing but sound design. I did like some of the music, though. The score was kind of fun. Some of it does play with just like typical classical music that that you would hear. So it's more of like a music supervisor, I don't know, went out and found the right classical song to play at the right time. A little bit of stuff on the piano. But most of it is just like sound design. There's a little bit of dialogue. I was a little worried at the beginning, because when I dive into anything without audio description, it's like, well, I need as much context as I can possibly get. there was a little bit of bilingual. She is Latina, so she speaks English and Spanish, but she only speaks Spanish like a little bit, like right at the beginning, just to sort of almost establish the fact that she's bilingual. The film is not progressively like she's not. It's not a Spanish movie. Like she's she just is like she's able to say like a couple lines of dialogue in Spanish at the beginning of the film. The bigger problem here is that there's almost no dialogue. So for the runtime of the movie, I really had no idea what was going on, like at all. Like there was a scene where this cop comes up, and I guess there was an officer that was down. He's like, "Officer down," and I was like, "There was an officer here?" Like I had no idea. So for those of you who try to like go into this for I don't know whatever reason because you're a glutton for punishment, as a blind person, I just would not. I highly don't recommend this movie for blind and low vision people. And I can't really do much with a review of this film otherwise. So this review is not going to be a great one. But later on, I guess somewhat spoilers, but later on they're at a different location. I'll try not to spoil as much as possible. And they again they dip into the let's not have anybody talk, and it's so weird too because I'm like in this location I'm like wouldn't there be like just like crowd chatter, like did we not hire extras? There's some times where it's like okay so there's somewhere else. I feel like there'd be people, you know. So there were some things that I was picking up on where I was like, why aren't there any people here? So, yeah, there were just my heads up about that was the fact that, I don't know, I was a little annoyed by the sirens. They use sort of like an alarm and it goes on for a while. So if you've got your TV up, it's like, there's like a scene, a prolonged scene in the movie where they're just and when you're blind, you have nothing else to go off of, and nobody's telling you the action, and you're just listening to that. It's like wanting to throw your shoe across the room to knock off the alarm clock and be like, no, make it stop. So this was not a fun experience for me. So as the crash test dummy guinea pig for this film for AMC Plus and Shudder, from the on behalf of the blind and low vision community, no, it's woefully inadequate for you to continue to premiere films like this without audio description and accessibility on your services. So please look into it. Unfortunately, now we have to think about a grade. Like, where does push go? Where do I put a film that I couldn't understand that has really no dialogue? And most of what I got was from like the basic character description. I have no idea what the killer's like, or if he kills anybody. I have no idea how people die in this movie. I mean, like all of the standard things that you would think about in a thriller / horror movie without having to look up and listen to a sighted person watch it and then be like, oh, that's what was happening. Oh my God, thank you for filling in those. Like, yeah, I do that sometimes, but it's usually for things where I have like some sort of connection to the experience. Like there's something in there and I just have like a question where I'm like, so the person, is that what happened there? You know, like I'm filling in some gaps, but man, it's like a whole movie. It's basically, it's almost like a silent movie at times. Like for most of it, there's so little dialogue in here that it's so reliant upon the visual, which means it's so reliant upon us having audio description. It's just what it is. Like I have a review of Sitting Through Skinamarink without audio description. I did that for you a long time ago. Skinamarink without audio description when it was presented on AMC Plus and Shudder. So yeah, it's sorry to the people who made Push. Even like Raul Castillo, who I've seen in other things, I have nothing to comment about his performance because I'm not really sure where he was in the movie. Like, I think his performance is largely silent, as basically everyone's performance in this film is. So there's the pros, dot dot dot. I have no pros. I have nothing except like sound design and score, but off the sound design and the score is supposed to support something. If I don't know what that thing is, there's only just so far I can go with that. Like, I can say, well, some of this was pleasant to listen to. I don't know that I needed like an hour and a half of it, but there was some of it. But then, like, we get into the alarm section, so that wasn't super fun for me. So I can't even give like the full run of the movie, points on sound design and score. So, and that's all that it's writing off of right now, because the lines are not, there's nothing that really substantially brings out enough character or performance for me to really grade somebody's performance. There wasn't like, they're almost like like single line deliveries. So it's like you're grading an extra in a movie who's like, would you like fries with that? And you're like, oh, his performance is just, he just embodies everything of a fast food worker. It's amazing. Like, you can't, when you're given so little to work with in some of the scenes, you know, uh, there isn't much to talk about in terms of performance. So the stuff that I would normally talk about, I don't really have anything to go off of here. The only thing that I can say for Push at this point in 2025 is it's not the worst film I've seen this year. I truly, truly wanted to leap from my skin during Medea's Destination Wedding. Like, so if I, and that movie had audio description and tons of dialogue. So I was able to fully understand and comprehend that 100%, and Push not comprehend. And listening to Push was less grating and obnoxious than in the other film. So there's something. Um, but man, I don't know that this film is ever going to gain audio description. I don't know what's ever going to come of it. So I guess I'm going to give a final grade for this film. Sorry, we're going to go with rotten. I'm going to give it like let's go with a 1.5. I'll give it a couple points for some sound design. But that's the blind perspective on this. I went into this blind, and I left confused. So, it's a new dawn. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I'll see you guys on the other side.